Let's look at example number 6. Here we are going to learn about how you can incorporate format specification into your prompt. You can define things like you want the output format to be in a bulleted format, or in a short summary, or in an email format, or based on a social media post or a tweet, etc. So let's look at the prompt. Here we are saying summarize today's meeting actions items as bullet points for email. So let's copy the prompt. Let's go to Copilot. So this is where Copilot really shines because it understands your work and things like that. So if you are using the work tab and if you ask question like, hey, summarize today's meeting action in the bulleted points and email, if there is any meeting happened, then it would automatically go and do that. We will see that deeper insight into that and things like that. So we are not looking into the work aspect. We are just following the web one. I'm going to ask the other Copilot, create a mock meeting action items in a paragraph. So that this is a mock meeting information. I'm just going to copy that. Here, I'm going to put summarize today's meeting action as a bullet point for an email. And I'm going to paste the paragraph here, which we copied from the mock one. And I'm going to say that look for the information from the below information. So basically the prompt is the same. Summarize today's information action item as a bullet points. If you use the work tab, you can actually reference the meeting in itself by adding the content or referencing. Don't worry about it. We will learn that in the intermediate prompting stage. Now let's stick to the basics. So here I'm saying that, hey, there is a information in paragraph. Can you put that in action items bullet points? So let's send it. So based on this complicated paragraph format, now if you look at it, the action item from today's meeting is drafted in a such nice clear format for me. And we specifically asked for bullet points, so it's extracted this information into clear actionable bullet point. Let's copy this and let's put that in the presentation pack. Let's look at the next example. Here we are looking at the context inclusion. So it's really good to give the context. You remember in the third example or something which I reiterate the fact that adding more context gives you better output. So this is exactly what we are going to learn. Providing context to generate relevant and accurate answers. So the prompt is based on our last sprint retrospective suggest 3 improvement for our agile workflow. So that's a prompt we are going to use. But here the context is you're telling Copilot to look into the last 3 sprints. So I don't have last 3 sprints in the demo lab, but if you have that data in your work tab, it's all you have to do is ask the question in the work tab. You don't even have to mention like what the sprint and things like that. It can look into your organizational data and it can give you the improvement for your agile workflow. We will look into that aspect later. So here, like last example, we are going to create a fake one. So I'm going to ask create a mock retrospective for last 3 different sprint sessions. So it is going to give me the data. All I have to do is copy this. Imagine if this is your last sprint, and I'm going to tell the left side Copilot, look at the below input, and I'm going to paste that. So if you have this in a document, you can always refer it. You can click on add content, and this will allow you to add content like a document, PDF, things like that. So we will look into that aspect later. So now let's stick to the prompting. What we are learning here is adding bit of a context. So I'm giving a lot of context here, a lot of information about last 3 sprint, and let's click enter. So based on the retrospective insight from sprint 1 to 3, here are 3 suggested improvement to enhance the agile workflow. So it tells that, hey, what are the things you can do, why, how to improve, some integration capabilities based on the mock one we created. So we are not going to dive deep into the output, but we kind of learned an example about how we can incorporate more context, either by adding into your work or either by giving as an output. And you can add these context by either looking into your work tab, or you can supplement this information via email or document, etc. So that's an example for further reference in the future. Let's look at example number 8. Here we are going to learn about constraints. So applying this character or word limit as constraint. So you can think of constraint in any form as you like. So in this example, we are looking at like a word or a character constraint. So if you look at the prompt, what we are learning here is we are going to ask a model to write a tweet. Now it is called X. So I hope that works as a tweet. Okay, write a tweet under 230 characters. So I'm clearly specifying whatever output you're going to give me, it's going to be limited within a specific scope. That is called constraint. And this constraint, what we are using here is the character limit. Characters should not go to 80 characters. And summarizing the build highlights. All right, let's copy this prompt and go to our Copilot and let's click on new chat. I'm just going to run this as it is. We got an efficient tweet here. Say that, hey, here's a tweet summarizing the highlights of Microsoft Build 2025. So let's go and copy this and put that sample in our example and paste that output as a reference for our future need. Let us look into the next one. The last one, what we learned is the constraints. So here we learned about how to apply constraints, and we learned about when you guide AI to produce precise to the point constraint, it is going to actually follow your instruction thoroughly. So add those sort of constraints or elements when you define your prompt. The next one is learning about structure control. Here what we are going to learn is structuring the content with a custom layout or length. So you need to have that clear goal in your mind. This is exactly what I want. So the prompt, what we are going to test is generate a 5-paragraph blog on why prompt engineering is essential for Copilot. So here what we are telling is how you want to structure it. You want a paragraph based structure, and you're adding a constraint here by telling that you want only 5-paragraph blog post. So you're not basically telling, hey, create a blog post. That is a vague one. So here, if in your mind you say that, hey, I want 3 paragraphs and 2 section on bulleted points, you can clearly articulate that and it is going to listen to your constraint and follow the structure control. So let's copy this prompt and let's go back to the Copilot. Here I'm going to click on new chat. We will run 2 versions of it. In the first version, we are going to run the prompt as it is, create a 5-paragraph blog post on why prompt engineering is essential for Copilot. The next one, I'm going to remove generate a 5-paragraph and I'm going to remove generate a blog on why prompt engineering is essential for Copilot. So, and then we'll compare the 2 responses. The first one, you can see that why prompt engineering is essential. You can clearly see that it's a 5-paragraph response. That is quite good. In the second one, I didn't had any sort of structural constraint. I basically let Copilot decide how Copilot is going to give me an output. So based on that, I can see that there are a lot of heading, why prompt engineering is essential, what is prompt engineering, why it matters, some examples, some bullet points, things like that. I like the second version better, but we are not here to judge the content. We are basically trying to learn the prompting basics, right? So I'm just going to quickly copy this as a reference and let's add that into our document and let's go and learn about the next example. So what, before that, let's go back one more time. All right, so what we learned here is structural instruction, because the structure was 5-paragraph long blog, easy to understand. And these sort of structural control helps shape long form responses for consistency. If you are creating a long form content, if you want some sort of a consistency, it's good to include few constraints like this. Let's look at the 10th example, multiple task. So in this, what we are going to learn is how you can add multiple tasks and how this model is going to handle multiple tasks with a single prompt. So the prompt here is summarize this Teams transcript, list action items, and suggest a follow-up email. So based on whatever you're going to provide here, it could be a Teams transcript, a meeting, whatever you had before, or a document which you're going to upload, or give a text. Based on that, it is going to extract 2 or 3 things. One, you want a list of action, and next you want to suggest a follow-up email as well based on one. So you're incorporating 2 3 action into a single prompt. Let's copy that prompt and go back to our Copilot. Click on new chat. I'm going to click on new chat on both and put the prompt as it is. Here I'm going to ask create a mock Teams conference call transcript. So it is creating a mock transcript. So I'm just going to copy this mock transcript. I'm going to go here, paste it, and here I'm going to tell summarize the Teams transcript, list action item, and suggest follow-up email from the below input, and hit send. Now it is going to scan through the transcript, and it is going to do 2 things. First, it is going to give a suggested follow-up email, and next it is going to give us an action item. These are the 2 things we asked: action item and a suggested follow-up email based on the transcript. That is quite good. So let's go and copy this. In this, what we have learned is by adding these multiple tasks, the model can handle compounding tasks. That is quite good. So you don't have to have each prompt with a specific task. You can compound multiple things into a single prompt and ask for an output. And AI can handle these multiple outputs if tasks are clearly stated.